Hey there. Here's how to score 8777 band in IELTS. First and foremost, you should know in listening section there are 40 questions and you need at least 35 correct answers in order to score band 8 in listening. This means you can have only 5 wrong answers or can make only 5 mistakes in total. Please keep in mind. Second, learn different accents of numbers ranging from 0 to 9. There would be a question or two in section 1 in which the speaker will say a number. This could be a mobile number, a car number or a house number. It seems easy, but the truth is if you are not familiar with the accent you are likely to miss out on the digits he or she saying one after the other. Use Google and hear the pronunciations of these numbers. If you do this you'll have this question right. As I said before, we can only afford to make 5 mistakes. Apart from numbers, if you have time, listen to the IELTS podcast before going to sleep. It's fun to listen to. It works wonders in IELTS listening. When you begin reading a section, the key trick is to read the question and keep an eye on the next question, and then be ready to filter out the answer from the talk. There could be a possibility that you missed an answer and you suddenly feel that you have missed the track. Just do not panic in that situation. It's okay if you have missed a question. You should immediately move to the other one. But, there is a catch to this. Sometimes, the test makers purposely put long irrelevant sentences in between, which make you feel that you have missed on the answer, as it has been quite a while and you have not heard relevant context of the sentence you have been waiting for. You tend to switch to the next question, but, turns out the speaker in the audio clip has not touched that part too. Again, do not panic. If you have an eye on the next question you'll get to know the trap. Fourth, when you complete a section, the audio clip gives you some time to review your answers. Do not waste this time in reviewing, as mostly there would not be anything that you can change since you cannot repeat the clip. By the end of the clip your brain would most likely have forgotten most of it. The trick is to invest this time in reading the instructions and questions of the next set of questions. Use your time wisely. Remember, IELTS is case sensitive. The examiners will not be giving you marks if you make wrong use of grammar. This means you cannot write a name of a person, monument, or even a city for that matter without having the first letter in capital. Even if you are all thorough with the grammar rules, there is a possibility that towards the end of the section when you'll have 10 minutes to transfer your answers, you might end up making this error. Fortunately, IELTS accepts all capitals, provided you answer all the questions in capital letters. At the same time, do not make a mistake of answering a few questions in small and rest in capital. They will simply scratch it off, thinking you do not know proper use of grammar. My suggestion would be to answer all questions in capital words. 10 minutes are more than enough to transfer the answers to the answer sheet. This also reminds me that please make sure all answers are clearly readable. If the examiner finds any answer to be unclear or causing any type of confusion, he will simply strike it off as wrong. Please make a note, in order to score band 7 in reading, you cannot afford to make mistakes beyond 10 questions out of 40. So plan it accordingly. This might sound easy, but at times it's not, as we are humans, and we do make silly mistakes, if not the conceptual ones. The biggest hurdle in reading section is managing time. The passages could be lengthy. Sometimes it may seem impossible to read every word, and you might have a brain freeze at that moment. The answer to this hurdle is the art of skimming. Skimming is a strategic, selective reading method in which you focus on the main ideas of a text. When skimming, deliberately skip text that provides details, stories, data, or other elaboration. It may require some practice in order to learn this skill. The idea is not to read the paragraph word by word but to just understand the meaning or context of the paragraph. You can even write it next to the paragraph, in a few words. This could help you in questions like find title for the paragraph, summarizing the paragraph, and also will help in identifying which paragraph is relevant to the question you are looking at. With regard to choosing title for a paragraph type question, I suggest not to invest too much time on it, as it may eat a lot of time and it's worth only a mark. If you can find it in one go, good. Otherwise, invest that time wisely. In questions in which you are required to provide headings to the paragraphs, always remember that there are more headings than the number of paragraphs. The trick here is to glance through the headings first, and then skim through the paragraphs. Once you use a heading, strike that heading with pencil in the question paper. This will help you focus better on the remaining headings. One of the most important tricks to crack the reading section is to know the characteristics of the question types. In few of the questions, answers do come in order. Yes, you heard it right. In questions asking whether the statement is true, false, or not given, summary completion questions or sentence completion questions, then multiple choice questions, list selection questions and short answer questions, answers do come in order. This means if the answer of question 1 is in para 2, for instance, then the answer to the next question will be in the paragraph 3 or subsequent paragraph. Keep that in mind. Fifth, just like the listening section, my suggestion would be to write your answers in all capital letters in the reading section too. Few people might not prefer this due to paucity of time. But my advice would be to try and answer the section 2 in all caps, as this will help to mitigate most of the grammatical errors. The writing section consists of the 2 tasks. The maker suggests that out of the 1 hour, you should invest 20 minutes on task 1 and 40 minutes on task 2. But I say do not spend 20 minutes on task 1 and 40 minutes on task 2. Rather, spend 15 minutes on task 1 and 35 minutes on task 2. Keep 10 minutes for the review and correction. It is very important to read and check what we have written. We might not be able to add a whole new idea to a paragraph, but can check the spellings and the flow of the paragraph while going through it again in the end. It really matters a lot to look out for the errors before the examiners do. Mostly, people are stuck at band 6.5 despite of writing a beautiful passage only because they do not read what they have written in the last few minutes. This also reminds me, once you read the task 1 or 2, please take some time to think and create a plan before starting to write. Identify the nature of the task, see if task 1 is formal or informal, accordingly plan a strategy. For task 2, have at least 3 totally independent points based on which you can write 3 different paragraphs. Next tip would be to have at least 5 paragraphs, including introduction and conclusion in task 2. Remember, you have to cross 250 words and there is no upper limit. IELTS examiners majorly look for the meaningful flow of the passage. Every different para should have a different meaning, and should make a different point. This means there should be a little introduction, a little body, and a little conclusion, of its own in each of the paragraph. It's best to substantiate the para with relevant examples. This will not only help in proving the point the paragraph is intending to make, but also will help you reach 280 words, which you should ideally aim for. Having said that, please do not count the number of words and waste your time. The trick here is to see how many words you normally are writing in a line, and then just count the number of lines. One should avoid using small sentences, and try to make longer sentences, by using different types of conjunctions like and, but, nor, so, however, but also, etc. The examiners do mark you on the use of conjunctions, and the variety of sentences. They are not interested in knowing how interesting your passage is, but would like to see how playful you are with framing of the sentences. For this purpose, avoid uncommon repeating words and sentences in writing, as this will straight away attract the attention of the examiner, and would give a negative impact. You might want to use synonyms instead. Fourth, one of the most important trick in cracking the writing section is paraphrasing. Now, paraphrasing means expressing the meaning of a statement using different words. Try and use different words, and form different sentences. Good news is, IELTS examiners go a little easy on this. They consider different forms of words as different words. For example, I would like to go to the park, is different from, I would enjoy going to the park. This can also be achieved with the help of active and passive voice too. Remember, do not copy the task question word to word, especially in your introduction. Handle it smartly and paraphrase it. The fifth tip would be to ensure that, whatever you are writing is easily readable to the examiner, and have a uniform flow. It should not be like paragraph 1 is talking about a totally different context, and paragraph 2 is not making any relevance to paragraph 1. There should be a flow and uniformity in the passage, in order to score well. For people who face issues with respect to their handwriting, please do not hurry and make it difficult for the examiner to read. You'll be writing with a pencil, which I assume you have not used in a while. Please take it slow if you want, but try and make it as comfortable as you can, for the reader to read. One should think like an examiner when you are reviewing your work in the end. A soothing passage, with a uniform flow, will most certainly attract any human more, and fortunately in IELTS the evaluations are done by humans. For speaking test, the first tip would be to look at the examiner while talking, and make sure you make eye contacts. There might be a situation that the examiner is busy writing something. Please do not get distracted that time, as he might as well listen to the whole recording again once you are gone. So it's not like he is not listening. Looking at the examiner will also boost up your confidence level and ease you up. You should wear a confident look. Look confident, even if you are not. Have a smiling face and a positive gesture. Remember, it's okay to make a few mistakes or miss out on words which you have planned to use. Take it like a normal conversation. Coming to the second tip, please do not throw foreign accent. Try and keep it simple. The examiners are highly trained professionals. They will know when you are faking. It does not win you any points to have an accent. Be real and enjoy the experience. The questions are very general in nature. Practice a few questions with your buddies. Best part about the speaking test is, you can create your own story. It could be true or false. The examiner is not going to judge you, based on facts. Remember, it's a language exam. Try and build a positive and friendly environment, but, at the same time, do not make it very casual. Do not forget, he is going to mark you based on your performance. Next, I would say, it's okay to be stuck in between. Just make it look evident that you are searching for the idea, not the word. That comes with a bit of practice. Do not panic or lose hope. As I said, they are not interested in what story or experiences you are sharing. Do not worry about whether your story is interesting or not. Just say it. In some of the cases, students have spoken about a slightly different topic and have received great bands. While you are talking, try and connect the dots. One of the cool tricks here would be to think of the past, present, and future of the topic in hand, and frame your response. In the end, it's okay to have natural fillers like, oh, etc. Don't break your head on that. At the same time, avoid repetitive use of other fillers like, you know, I mean, etc. Please do not memorize any fancy words at the last moment. You might end up deducting a few points in order to charm the examiner with your vocabulary. Use words which you are comfortable with. Thank you for watching. For any query or professional help, you can write to sotellmem@gmail.com.